There are few companies as secretive as Nintendo, especially when it comes to future hardware. But what if I told you that there once was a time when Nintendo teased their next generation console in their very own games, years in advance? And not just once, nor twice, but multiple times, including instances before anyone could have possibly known what they were teasing, or that there were even teases at all. Sounds absurd, right? Well, welcome to Cool Bits, where we spotlight hidden Easter eggs and secret details that, at least in this case, almost everyone missed. And not just because they were incredibly subtle and well hidden, which they were, but also because, in at least a couple of instances, it was nearly impossible to know that they were teases at all at the time. It was all very strange. But then again, that eventual system was always a bit unconventional. Yeah, we're talking about the GameCube. A purple box that came with its own carrying handle along with one pretty strange looking controller. It even made some rather peculiar cameos in its own games, like being a platform in Super Smash Bros. Melee, or acting as an entire battle stage in Mario Kart Double Dash. And that's just the tip of the iceberg, and you have no idea how deep this iceberg goes, as it was also referenced in numerous more mysterious ways. In fact, you're looking at one such example right now. Because before the GameCube was officially revealed to the world, it was known by its codename, Project Dolphin. Although Nintendo wouldn't publicly use this name until E3 in May 1999, it had already started making the rounds in the rumor circuit a few weeks earlier thanks to a report by N64, and even a whole month before that thanks to a scoop by the fan site Operation N2K. Even though the exact reason for the Project Dolphin codename was never officially confirmed, it was likely chosen to convey the project's goal of delivering a system that's fast, sleek, and powerful. You know, like dolphins. During Nintendo's pre-E3 press conference in 1999, then chairman for Nintendo of America, Howard Lincoln, said that Project Dolphin would be extremely powerful, and include a CPU that has the most powerful processor of any current or planned home video game system. Even the final retail units for GameCube bear signs of its Dolphin heritage, with their model number starting with DOL as in Dolphin, and even the GPU itself being emblazoned with the name Flipper, as in Flipper the Dolphin from that ancient TV show.
Flipper, faster than lightning.
So Nintendo clearly had dolphins on the mind, even well after the GameCube's release, as references to its Dolphin codename can be found in numerous games throughout the GameCube's lifespan, like riding a dolphin in the launch game Wave Race Blue Storm, Olimar's ship being christened the SS Dolphin in Pikmin. Super Mario Sunshine took place entirely on a dolphin-shaped island called Isle Delfino, which is Italian for dolphin. F-Zero GX featured a vehicle called the Cosmic Dolphin, Custom Robo had dolphin-shaped accessories, and even Star Fox Assault, despite being released towards the end of the system's lifespan, featured billboards that advertised dolphins. Nintendo just loved hiding references to the Project Dolphin codename in any way that they could, which I cannot stress enough is incredibly unusual for them, considering codenames are rarely intended for public use, let alone as an Easter egg to be found across multiple games and generations. Because here's where things get wild, as Nintendo didn't only reference Project Dolphin in the years after the system's release, but even in the years leading up to it too, hidden within multiple games of the GameCube's predecessor, the Nintendo 64, only this time in much sneakier and more mysterious ways. One of the earliest examples took place nearly a full 2 years before the GameCube's eventual release in September 2001, and 9 months before the system would even be revealed, with Donkey Kong 64 in November 1999. And as with most of our examples, it's a reference most people almost certainly missed. Because even though it can be found in the very first area of the game, inside DK's treehouse, it's super easy to miss as the camera normally keeps it hidden well off screen. But if you enter the first person view and look at the left wall, you'll find some relics from DK's past, like a steel girder from the original arcade game, along with Cranky Kong's cobweb-covered phonograph from Donkey Kong Country. But behind all of that is a strange picture of a dolphin, as in Project Dolphin. Yeah, they sneakily hid a glimpse at Nintendo's future among artifacts from their past. And there's a good chance that even if you somehow stumbled upon this at the time, you might not realize there was any greater significance to it, considering the platform that I was teasing was still 2 years away, and only the most avid of fans would have even heard the name Project Dolphin by this point in time. Although its meaning might have become a little clearer if you somehow managed to earn a 101% completion ranking for the game, as you'll then unlock a super secret ending. Yeah, they're holding auditions for Donkey Kong's next game on Nintendo's next-gen platform, Project Dolphin. How incredibly cheeky of them! Especially since we're still waiting on a Donkey Kong 64 sequel to this very day. Now, almost exactly a year later, and a couple of months following the official reveal of the GameCube, one of the final games for the Nintendo 64 snuck in another Project Dolphin reference in a surprisingly meta way. Because in Banjo-Tooie, you'll eventually encounter this guy frozen in place. And no, he didn't purposely freeze himself in an attempt to skip the wait for the next Nintendo platform.
If I freeze myself, then in 3 weeks when Nintendo
GameCube
comes out, you guys can unfreeze me. The wait will seem instantaneous to me.
Turns out, he's Saberman from Rareware's long-running series of games. And if you thaw him, you'll find out he's apparently been frozen here since 1984, which coincidentally was when his first game released, 16 years earlier. But as it turns out, he's not just a blast from the past, but maybe the future too? Because after you bring him back to his tent, he'll fall right asleep. But if you stick around without leaving the area, you'll eventually hear him start talking in his sleep, dreaming of future adventures, including one in which he catches a ride on a dolphin. Yeah, he's dreaming of a new adventure on the GameCube, hence the whole riding a dolphin thing. And I wouldn't expect any less from the series that famously teased its very own sequel in its first outing, right down to the title. Even if, in this case, his dreams sadly wouldn't become a reality, as Saberman never actually appeared on the GameCube itself. Hey, it was just a dream after all, and Rareware knows a thing or two about failed dreams, even if he wasn't all that far off about the whole riding a dolphin thing. Okay, now I know what you're thinking. Those Easter eggs are pretty surprising, but both of those games were technically made by Rareware, and they were always able to get away with things that Nintendo themselves wouldn't even attempt, right? Well, strap in! Because not only did Nintendo do the exact same thing in their own games, but they took the teases even further, such as by including it in one of their biggest series. Because in The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, you'll eventually make your way to the Astral Observatory, where you'll find all kinds of weird artifacts decorating the lower floor, including some paper scattered all over the ground, though one of which is suspiciously covered by a jar. But if you move it out of the way, in the only way Link knows how, you'll uncover what it was obscuring, a drawing of a dolphin. How very mysterious. Especially given that, at the time of the game's Japanese release, we were still 4 months out from the GameCube's official reveal, which of course included our very first look at a next-gen Zelda game. And I have to say, it's pretty fitting for a game that's all about time travel to tease the future. And Nintendo took it even farther yet with their next tease, in the original Paper Mario, even though there are no dolphins to be found this time. And it involves one of my other favorite Easter eggs, being Luigi's secret diary, which is hidden in the Bros' basement. If you sneak a peek at it, you'll learn of Luigi's deepest thoughts and desires. And it includes references to other games Luigi can be found in, such as Mario Golf, Mario Tennis, and Mario Party. Plus one more that didn't even exist yet. Because on page 7, Luigi writes, "I want to play the lead in an adventure." Of course, my name would have to be in the title, that'd be sweet, but I know it'll never happen. Well, my dear Luigi, I'm happy to say it did end up happening, as Luigi's Mansion is that game, having launched alongside the GameCube in late 2001. So that's pretty cute. But you might be thinking, hey, it's not that big of a tease, as Luigi's Mansion had already been announced by the time Paper Mario came out in 2001, right? Well, here's where it gets even better. Because Paper Mario actually released in Japan first, the previous year, on August 11th of 2000, which was nearly a full 2 weeks before the reveal of Luigi's Mansion and the GameCube. And yes, we actually checked the Japanese version as well, and Luigi's Diary says the exact same thing in that version too. So it wasn't just a fun reference added after the fact in localization, but something that's been there the entire time. So to recap, Nintendo hit a reference to a key launch game for their next-gen platform, while slyly confirming both that Luigi would star in it and have his name in the title, 2 weeks before anyone would know that game even existed. Which means that those who stumbled across it early enough would have no idea that this text actually meant anything at all. Furthermore, an earlier chapter in the diary even sets up Luigi's fear of ghosts, which again bore out in Luigi's Mansion. Remarkable. Now, if you think a 2-week tease is impressive, well, you'd better buckle up for what we're going to tell you next, as we have yet to touch on the deepest part of the iceberg, and it might just be the most impressive tease of them all. Because up to this point, every tease we've mentioned so far had come out after the Project Dolphin codename was confirmed by Nintendo in May of 1999, even if it wasn't especially well known outside of the most hardcore fans, with Donkey Kong 64 later that year being the first game to mention it from that point on. But what if I told you there's one other Nintendo 64 game that teased it too, and it not only came out a year and a half prior to Donkey Kong 64, but it even predates the earliest rumors of Project Dolphin itself. Yeah, let's call it the X Factor. As in the F-Zero X Factor. Because if you drop by either Big Blue or Rainbow Road in F-Zero X and slow down enough, you might catch a mysterious sign that has, but what else? That's right, a picture of a dolphin. And since this game first released in July 1998, that means that this tease not only came out over 3 years before the GameCube would eventually be released, but also nearly a full year before Project Dolphin's name was even known, in a time well before anyone had even known what that dolphin meant. And with a timeline like that, it's almost too fitting for a game set entirely in the future. Looking back, it's shocking to see how Nintendo is sneakily teasing an entire new system by hiding Easter eggs leading up to it like a trail of breadcrumbs, including at least 2 instances where even the most hardcore Nintendo fans wouldn't even understand their true significance until much, much later. Possibly until this very moment. And it's hard to imagine Nintendo ever doing anything quite like that again. And that's exactly why I have to say, those are some pretty cool bits. And that wraps it up for this episode of Cool Bits. But make sure to check out our playlist for even more episodes. And let us know if you have any cool bits of your own by posting in the comments below, and you may feature it in a future episode. Thanks for watching, and make sure to click that subscribe button and ring that bell for more cool bits and other fun features. Until next time, bye bye.